We are.
We are.
All right, so what are we talking
Fuck you. I was so prepared to say it.
Live.
Yes, live. Yes. You threw me off.
I did. I threw you for a
loop. We have a very interesting topic today.
Do we?
This one has freaked me out and have kept me up some nights. Ever since you told me about it.
Yeah.
And then the other day when you and I were like doing some logistics and like figuring out some topics.
Yeah.
We both landed on this and we both agreed to this.
Yeah, man. It's about what? It's about a birds?
No, not birds.
Turtles.
No, not turtles. 4 legs, but not turtles.
Hippopotami.
Do you want a hippopotamus for Christmas?
Yeah, I do.
Hippopotamus. Hey. But no, this one is a man's best friend. And what was so interesting about this was you told me about this the one time. And I was like, I have to listen to this. This
right.
creepypasta. For those of you who don't know what a creepypasta is, a creepypasta is...
It's where basically you take, like, pasta, and then you eat it, like, on Halloween, but you put some, like orange and black in there, and to make it, like, spin some ghosts.
It's actually...
Like meatballs, but, like, shaped like little ghosts, and then you go... When you serve it to people, you go, ooh, and then...
So, that's a creepypasta.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a creepypasta.
Oh.
Creepypasta. For you and I who are very versed in it. For those of you who don't know, it's a lore about people on the internet create the story or use parts of different stories in like the history of the world to create a creepy story.
Yeah.
So, Gavin, I don't know if you want to open up with this. And this one was your story before you told me. But.
Yeah. It's so basically, right? Let me give you a little bit of the backstory of how I found this.
Okay.
So about a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I got really into watching like creepypastas or listening to creepypastas, I should say, and watching like different. Like like horror talk is a thing now, where it's like you don't recognize the bodies in the water, and like if you see some
yeah 001
yeah so basically I'm scrolling through like YouTube one day and I'm just going through all these different videos, and none of them were really hitting. Like, you know how you kind of listen to one and either the dude's voice isn't correct or it starts off too slow or like, you know what I mean? And me personally, I don't like creepypastas that like where they put like sound effects in a lot of the time, unless it's like ambient noise like rain or white noise or small things like they open the door, like that kind of stuff. But like once in a while, when it's like almost every 2 seconds, it's like, bro. So I'm scrolling through and I see this thing. It's called Man's Best Friend. No, obviously referencing to our video we did a couple months ago. I'm really into like werewolves and dogmen and, just listening to that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's Man's Best Friend. So I was like, oh, should be interesting. So I clicked on it and it was about 2 a.m. and I'm in the complete darkness.
Bad idea.
Like it's quiet as hell in my house. Everything's dark. Everyone's asleep. And I'm just listening to this thing and it kind of, it kind of changed. That was the one that like pretty much, that like you get to a certain limit at like per night when you listen to them too much. I don't know if you do or not, but I do.
Trust me,
I get to like a certain point where you're just kind of like, all right, I'm kind of cool.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I wasn't scared though.
I was scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was. This one freaked me out.
But yeah, so I thought it was pretty good. But basically, it's about what's set in the 1950s, right? And it's about a group of scientists that want to run some experiments on these animals, right? To see if they can assimilate them kind of as people.
Yes.
Right? And then this one experiment they're doing is with a dog named David. Yeah.
Dude, it just oh man. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm gonna stop you.
So, basically, they take these scientists. Well, they're basically they're scientists, right?
Yeah.
So,
American researchers.
Yeah, the researchers. That's what the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I got you.
And they basically they're pretending to be this family, right?
Yes.
So they put them. They have a external kind of like if you guys ever played Call of Duty, Nuketown. They had like the fake city fake town.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing except for just one like house. So they build this like fake experiment house with like all these cameras set up throughout the house and like microphones and like all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so basically they have these researchers basically saying, hey, you're going to live in the house with David, and the goal is to see if and when and how long it would take to get him to, you know, kind of not become a human, obviously, but basically all for intensive purposes, get as close as you could be, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the goal probably should have been to get David to be as, like, to put together or whatever as like monkeys, like chimps or like orangutans or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
So yeah. So I thought that was pretty. It was a cool. That's kind of what got me hooked on it. It was a pretty cool like beginning. Like it was a cool.
Baseline.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
nice.
it was cool. It was a cool intro. But yeah, and obviously David's just a normal dog, just a normal everyday dog. But just really quick, do you think that if you like, how much money would it take for you to be a part of this?
In the beginning, it wouldn't have been much. I would maybe have done it as like a volunteer thing, depending on how long it would have been.
Okay.
If it would have been over a year, I would say like if I'm being there, maybe like $80K a year.
$80K a year.
Like you know, like a regular salary.
That's it's a little high to.
I don't care. I'm doing research.
I'm just saying it's a little high.
Fuck you, pay me.
Okay. Whatever, man.
But
Whatever.
at the end of the story, I genuinely do not believe you could pay me enough.
You don't think so?
No. I think the way that this story ended and the way that it was and the terror that I was having in my own room.
Yeah.
It was a unsettling experience. Now what about you? How much money would it take for you to do this?
Probably. I'd have to say probably like, ow, that was my kneecap. Probably like. I'd say like a base, like it'd probably be like a baseline salary.
Yeah.
Probably like $60K a year.
No. What about towards the end of the story?
Oh man, probably we're looking at like it'd have to be like $500K a year.
Okay.
You'd have to put some crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Because that like it'd be funny though to be like if it was just like just chilling out and it was just you and the dog, you're just vibing, and then you're just like some creepy shit's happening and you just don't care. Like, what if they found someone that didn't care?
Yeah, because it's not like you're watching your dog, like someone's in Europe for a year and you're watching little Fido run around and you just gotta feed him, take care of him. No, this was wild. So they bring this dog in, name him David, like you said, and he's a little pup. Yeah. They make him sit at the table for dinner, just like how you would go down with your dad and Keith and Moss and all them, and you would sit. When you go to the bathroom, you're sitting on the toilet.
Right.
You all those kind of mannerisms.
Yeah,
and they're setting him up when he's young.
Yeah, like they're trying to get him to do things that like instead of sitting like a dog, he's like they make him put his feet like a human and like put his paws on the table, and then like instead, like you said, going to the bathroom, you have to sit on the toilet or whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that well, didn't they break his legs? Yeah, they tried to get him to walk like a human.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody's familiar with how dogs' bones are structured, but they're designed to be on all fours. They're they're not bipedal, so
no, they're not.
So forcing him to consistently, like hours a day,
walk on his
hind legs. Eventually, the bones gave out, and they ended up breaking.
Yeah.
And then he was just kind of laid up in the bed.
Yeah.
And what's also kind of cool about the story is it takes you down a trip through like years. Like it's not like
this wasn't like a couple months. This wasn't a year. This was 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, because they budgeted for they had the experiment was supposed to be like 10 years.
Yeah,
and then they only got through a couple.
Yeah.
Through for the story, but yeah, it was cool because in the beginning he's just a dog that it's like they're playing with the dog, like you're just trying to get him to do certain weird things,
weird tasks, teach him.
And like I said, there's a family, so there's obviously the quote unquote mom, the quote unquote dad, the siblings,
Yep.
And then did they say? I don't remember how old the kids were.
I think it was just the son.
Wasn't there a daughter?
Why am I blanking on the daughter now? But I know they were only like I think like 11 or 12 or something like that.
Maybe.
They were young because towards the end of the thing it was like
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but we'll get to that as we cross that bridge. But as it was going out, now you're starting to see David grow up as as a dog. Like they grow up fast. They're starting to come into their own body, and the mannerisms, such as he's walking up the steps or he's walking around the house on his all fours. The mother, hey, and he would pop up, perk up.
That is what started to freak me out a little bit. Because,
Yeah.
imagine somebody being at someone's house and then the dog walks in. They're like, David. And then he just stands up,
Yep.
on hind legs and starts walking around.
Yep. They would have him always eat with them and do certain things with them. They would try to get him to watch shows or whatever it is. And now you're starting to see this transformation with this family that this dog is starting to catch on. Because dogs, they want to please their master. They want to be as close to this family as they can. So now you're starting to see this weird shift. You're starting to see this dog not act like a dog.
Right.
He's coming down, walking down, sitting at the table. He's eating.
Yeah.
He's doing everything to his ability to be a human. He's going to the bathroom and the toilet. People have walked in on him just sitting there,
Right.
and he's walking down the steps. But then you really start to see the shift between the dog David and the quote unquote human David is
Yeah.
when they call him for dinner.
Yeah.
And he's walking down the steps with a paw on the railing and his
Yeah.
feet on the steps. And I believe he said in the creepypasta, he's like, you can see the eerie feeling at the dinner table when they're seeing a full-grown, well, not full-grown, but like a couple years old, dog walk down the steps
Yeah.
and look at them.
That'd be
And
terrifying.
they come to sit.
Yeah. That'd be terrifying.
So as this is happening, you're starting to see a massive shift. And
Yeah.
what then you learn to find out is the quote-unquote father
Mm-hmm.
kind of is a loose cannon in a lot of regards.
Yeah.
So this is when the family's starting to have issues with David. Like, he was sort of regressing, and then as he's regressing, he's then speeding up his progress.
But he's not regressing like a dog.
Yes.
Like he's not regressing like it's literally like a little kid. Like how you teach a little kid how to draw or how to go to the bathroom by themselves or do whatever, and they end up having like an accident or doing whatever it is,
Yes.
and they come back a few steps. It's the same kind of thing where it's not like he's walking around on his hind legs and then one day just stops and he goes back to pandling, and then running around doing dog stuff. He's regressing like a human would.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to come down for dinner, and then he didn't want to leave his room, and then he didn't want to, then
Your quote unquote depressive states of a human.
yeah, it was just really freaky to see because you think about it, and he's going up this way, he's trending upwards, and he's regressing, but he's still technically growing because he's regressing like a human would, not like a dog would.
Exactly. And what's even freakier is that night when he was disrespecting his mother
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff, his dad snapped
yeah,
and beat the shit out of him. And
Yeah.
this is like you're now dog coming up to the arc, the dog, the progression, the creepiness, and now you're kind of at the peak of an issue. And you're having this shift in the story where things are going to get really dark, and you can kind of sense this. The father beats the shit out of the dog,
yeah.
and he didn't beat the dog like you would spank a dog, or you would hey, bad.
Yeah.
Physically
He beats
abuse.
him like a father said in the 50s would beat his actual human son.
Yes. So
Or
it was
wife.
set in the 50s, but yes. And the dog, in like an analogy, is put his tail between his legs.
Yeah.
So the next day, or maybe it was that night, comes down for dinner.
Right.
And yeah, it was the next day. Comes down for dinner, and this part free. I am getting actual. You can see the hair on my arm stand up because he comes down. Oh my god, he comes down, and he goes, And what's creepy about this is then the researchers.
Wait, what do you say?
He says that, right? It's not funny. I am freaking out right now. This is taking a lot of energy out of me.
Yeah.
So says this, and the family is like realizing he's trying to speak human words, like you guys listen to on the podcast, or how Gavin and I are interacting,
Yeah.
and they're freaking out. Like this is like a full-grown dog standing up in your kitchen, and don't laugh. And the researchers, like the actual researchers, not the ones in the room, on the opposite side seeing this, are like, is he trying to say something?
That'd be
So they bring in a technician, and they are breaking down what David said. And they all are like, I don't know what he's saying. This is so freaky. He's trying to speak human words. And the one researcher breaks it down, and he goes, this is what I think that they said, and they all kind of agreed upon it. And David said, and this is what they said in the thing is, thank you, Father, for teaching me that valuable lesson. I will I will be sure to return the favor of the lesson you taught me. And that freaked me out because all I can picture in my head is this like massive German shepherd standing there, smiling like a dog, and going,
that is terrifying.
Thank you, Father, for changing. And I'm like, I
You know what's
remember.
even freakier about it?
Oh my God.
Is that he's thinking that.
I know.
He can't quite verbalize it, but that's what's happening in his brain.
Dude,
He's
actually
thinking like a
confused.
human. Like that's nuts.
So all right. I guess I'll tell you, all these people out there, and not just you because I'm a pussy. I paused it,
Yeah.
and no bullshit. I locked my door.
Yeah.
I closed the closet, and I faced the chair against the door. And you know how my desk set up, and I put the laptop here, and I went. I was terrified. I needed water. Like, I wanted water to drink. Did not get water. Think I drank 2-day-old water in a cup. Because my fear is I was gonna walk out in the apartment door on the couch and see David.
Just smiling.
Yeah. So then I click it, and then they are now all freaked out.
Yeah. And then you had the people that were was it the mom? No, it was one of the researchers had said like, "Hey, I don't want to be a part of this anymore."
Yeah, it was the mother.
Yeah, she was like, "I can't be a part of this anymore. I don't feel comfortable. Like things are getting out of control." And then basically the scientists were basically like, "Yo, nut up or shut up." And then she like tried to
sign a contract.
You signed the contract. You're a part of this. You can't leave. And so she's like, "Okay." And what freaked me out the most is when like the kid is like the one's like the son, right? He's like kind of seeing. He's never really been a major part.
No,
he's been cool with David. Yeah, they're cool
because they had it set up to how they're like, you are his brother.
Yeah,
you will treat him as such.
Right. So like they treat each other like brothers. Obviously, David isn't going to be treated like a human, but like that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to treat him like a normal person. Yeah. And so the son really didn't have too much going on, up until this point. But what was freaky was when what was it? What came first? What was it? When they with the dad, right? When David and the dad interacted alone.
That came right after.
Yeah.
That was later that night or the next day.
Yeah.
David, let's say, showed his father the lesson he learned so dearly the other night.
And how'd that happen?
Like how it transpired?
No, yeah, like what happened?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they were like talking in the kitchen and things like that. And David then like freaked out.
Yeah.
And ended up killing the father.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when that all happened, Dave was walking around with this smile. Everyone had this eerie feeling something was going to happen.
Yeah.
And Dave ended up killing his father.
And
quote unquote his father.
Quote unquote, yeah. And then from that point, from that point, that's when David fully shifted from like little kid David to like, this is my house, David.
Yeah. there were some things, and the thing is like how you and I talked before, how we have that inner monologue in our head.
Yeah.
And we can like picture images very well.
Yeah.
This was so scary to me because I am picturing the house in Nuketown.
Yeah.
Not the blue one, the one opposite of it that has all the mannequins and stuff. I am picturing I guess it's this next scene that we're going to talk about. So David is realizing that he just took out
The head of the household.
the head of the household
Right.
pretty fairly easily.
Yeah.
And at this point, you are now noticing David take the role of the father. So
Yeah.
the next morning or the couple mornings after that,
Now, mind you, everyone's in this like super depressive state now.
yes,
Like the mom doesn't want to be there, the son doesn't want to be there. Like nobody wants to be there. Everybody's just trying to just survive and like just continue with this experiment, basically.
yep,
And mind you, the scientists are watching all of this unfold on the cameras. And basically, the one morning, like everyone's kind of sitting there, and David, they called David for breakfast, I think. And if I remember correctly, he doesn't come down until he wants to come down, and then he comes trotting down the stairs like slowly on his hind legs, walking like a person, and comes down. And the mom's kind of sitting there, like looking at the table, just kind of like trying to eat her food, like. And he walks behind her, and just slowly puts his paws on her shoulders and starts rubbing her shoulders the same way that the quote unquote husband did throughout the years prior of the experiment. He'd rub her shoulders and yada yada. So now he's trying to do the same thing.
oh my god, this is rough.
And she like freaked out and she was like, "No, get off me!" Like ran up to her room and locked herself in her room. Like couldn't deal with it basically. And then David, I think David kind of was just like, whatever.
Yep.
And then like looked at the kid and was like, and then like did his own thing.
Yep,
But-
sits down and eats breakfast.
Yeah, like he's not doing his routines anymore. He's not doing his like, he's just doing whatever he wants.
Yes.
And then do you want to, what happened with him and the son?
Oh my god. So, after that whole situation with the mom,
Yeah.
the son and the mom were trying to like keep themselves away from David.
Yeah, they're trying to just stay as far away as possible.
Yeah. So a couple nights later, David's like walking around, and the son's kind of like, "Oh man, this is really weird," and is like closing his door. Now, I'm sure it was the same way with your house.
Yeah.
Parents don't want their doors closed or locked.
Right.
No one ever barged my room. He always
Yeah.
need to be respectful, but don't lock your doors.
Yeah.
So, one night, the son is just laying there trying to go to bed, and you just hear dum, 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 dum. And David is standing at the door, and he's like, "Hey, David, what's going on?" And it's freaky. Like, and what was so creepy about this was, this is like when he talks about the first time the son is obviously grown up. It's been a couple years now, and he's like looking up at David, and the son's like, "I never really pictured this,
Yeah.
but he is bigger than me,
Yeah.
and he's probably stronger than me."
Yeah.
And the son is realizing that he can't really fight back, and David looks down and smiles.
Yeah.
And this scene freaks me out, and I know it freaks you out because you talked about it a million times. Because this is the scene that got me hooked before I watched it.
Right.
When we were at Applebee's.
Right.
Is he's about to like close the door or whatever, and as he's like walking away, David takes his paw and boom opens the door,
Yeah.
stares at him, smiles, and goes, "Open." He just told this child, as a dog, I need you to picture your own dog trying to speak,
Yeah.
but in this time he's already killed your father.
Yeah.
He's basically tried to like
Make moves on your mom.
on the mom, taking over the house, and now at night, open your door, tell you to say open,
Yeah.
and then walk away.
He just looks at you, just tells you to keep the door open, and just dips. That's terrifying. What would you do? What do you do?
Gav, I don't know what I would do, because I was sitting there literally in my room in the apartment just like freaking out. I was terrified. This was a wild scene.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. When I first listened to this, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, what would I have done differently? Like, if I was them or if I was in their position or something. And, like, I mean, dude, I don't know what you do. Like, I think you just either get, I don't know. Because, like, he's staying up late watching TV. He's going to the bathroom with the door open. Doesn't give a damn. He's, vibing out, walking around the house like he owns the place. Telling you to keep your door open or whatever. doing whatever he wants. And what's crazy about it though is if you really think about it, you would have no one to blame but yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I guess you could blame the scientists that want to do the experiment, but like you signed up for it, And like I don't know, I think when the mom finally snapped, and was like, "We're getting the fuck out of here," I think that would have happened for me a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Like I think when he's tried to speak for the first time,
my
I think I
gosh,
would, or when they was like the middle of the night and the kid opened the door and David's just on his hind legs standing in the hallway, like not moving.
Yep.
Like that would have freaked me out.
Yeah. I don't think I would have been able to make it through the whole thing.
No.
But what sucks is, and what made it even creepier, was they tried to leave because they had like a doorway David didn't know about that they could leave the house.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want to be a part of this anymore. We want to be done. They go, you signed up for this. You signed this contract. You're going to finish it.
Right.
So as this is all going on, days, weeks, months pass by, and things are kind of building up again. No one's really talking, and then David's legs snap.
Yeah.
So this is towards the end of this story. So his legs snap, and the mother and the son, obviously he's no longer like a threat.
Yeah.
So they lay him in the bed and they kind of take care of him. They bring him his food and all this kind of stuff.
But it's weird because he's sitting in the bed like a person.
Yes.
Like with the blanket and he's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they bring him the food, and at this point the scientists are like, well, there's really nothing else we could do.
Yeah.
Because they can't set the leg. His legs are shattered.
Yeah.
That's why you can't have a dog walking on his hind legs all the
Yeah.
time. And this is when they decide to call the experiment off.
Except they don't, like, basically they go, all right, guys, that's a wrap. And they have the rest of the researchers, like the mom and the son, leave the house. And they close the door and they lock it. They go through where the scientists were the whole time. They leave. The scientists leave. They take all the cameras out. They take all the footage. They take everything. And they just abandon the house.
Yeah, I think it was like they left like a lifetime supply of food or whatever. So
I don't know, man. But how would he get it?
that's the whole point of the cliffhanger is like, they go the left door, they take all the stuff out, and then they leave food.
Yeah,
I'm assuming there's water, but no one knows.
They just leave him sitting in the bed, like to die, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, in the 70s or 80s, the house was demolished.
Yes, yeah.
And later on, the house was demolished, and the grounds that they did it all on were rebuilt and like whatever. But they don't know what happened to David. Everyone just kind of moved on.
Yep. And after the experiment, they immediately went into trauma rehabilitation or whatever it was. With the mother and the son and the kids and stuff like that.
Dude, I'm going to say this. I don't think anybody fully understands how fucking terrifying that would be. Like, if you were in that, like, just think, like, there would be some times, like, I even know, like, when some of my friends had dogs, or, like, whatever, and, like, it'd be, like, the middle of the night, and you just kind of feel, like, the dog looking at you, or you hear the dog, and you don't really see it yet, and you know it's just Fido, And, like, just imagine if you're like sleeping over your friend's house, and you hear like the dog come down the steps, and you look over, and you just see you just see it standing as tall as you are, just looking at you.
Well, my neighbors, literally, if you go 2 houses over, when I used to live here,
Yeah.
they had like Great Danes.
Yeah.
And they would, come
Yeah.
up on you. Like, you are massive, but they're the sweetest things ever.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing with like Newfoundlands and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Like Burmese mountain dogs.
I could not. It's so unsettling because
Yeah.
you don't really think about things like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it happens the way it happens,
Yeah.
especially in the story.
Well, who published that story?
Look, I have to find it.
Oh, I thought you had it up.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure this ran really smoothly, so I
Gotcha.
took it all down. But again, we'll put it all up.
I can look it up.
Yeah,
I can do it.
But no, it was just really creepy because creepypastas are typically like, SCP-0916 or like The Rake or Slender Man or all these things like the Wendigo, the doppelgangers. And what was different about this was it wasn't anything supernatural.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the Russian sleep experiment.
Yeah, like
You know?
it wasn't something like, where you would, it's not something that, like, with it comes terms of like werewolves or vampires or ghosts or demons or whatever. It's kind of fanatical, like,
Yes. Yeah. But it was cool. I really liked this one. I'd listen to it again. I would 1,000%, suggest you guys. This is probably one of the creepiest creepypastas I've heard of. Because obviously you hear about all the other ones. Like the Rake one, like, you guys are going to laugh at me for saying this. But there's a reason why I always push my chair in when I go to bed. It's because my absolute worst fear is waking up, seeing my chair facing me, and there being the Rake sitting right there staring at me.
That would be pretty terrifying. But yeah, so if you want to go check out the story, I would go check out Vildith22 on YouTube. That's who published the story. VILDITH 22. Check it out. It's definitely worth a listen. We intentionally left stuff out. Obviously, if you did want to go and check it out, that's why some of it sounds a little chopped. Some of it sounds a little, like we definitely left gaps. I think we covered the main points. Like the most, not the most important, but definitely.
And his narration is top notch,
top tier.
It was really good. Perfect storyline. You can follow it. You can understand it. Like the reason we get so freaked out is because it was done so well.
It was done so well, and you also have to be in the mindset too. If you're in the middle of the day around your friends trying to listen to it, it's not going to hit the same.
Yeah.
Got to be alone. Got to be at night. Got to be right before you're trying to go to sleep. It'll hit different. I promise.
It just hits different.
It's different.
But if that's it, my
I
friend.
hate people that drink orange soda, bro.
Oh my god!
I'm not drinking it. I'm consuming it.
I hate you. Total tidbit, but the other day, Gio found an Elmo.
Yeah.
And he was on here. Man, pulled it out towards the end. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "I've had it here the whole time." I was like, "Bro." But that's it, Gavin.
That's it. Next week, I won't do the podcast next week unless we have an interesting topic. So,
Did I not say that?
no, you covered it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's it. This is gonna be a wrap. Thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. We have to go pretty soon. We got to go get Matt another like more shirts, so he doesn't have to wear like the same 4 on every episode. Damn. Raggy.
All right. Until next time.
Peace.